What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com, and I'm casually dressed. We're doing a company cookout for all of my businesses today. I invited all employees. I wonder if all of them will show up. They're off today, so we'll see how that happens. But I haven't been able to make many videos, really any videos over the last, I think, couple of weeks, and there's a good reason for it because we've been inundated. I'm talking about inundated with these. And what these are, people getting sued by third party debt collectors. Like people, for some reason, you got videos here on YouTube, videos all over the place, and they're telling people to disregard debt collectors. And I'm telling you, don't disregard any debt collection letter that you get because it can result in what these people, like multiple, like I'm talking about, um, I don't know how many, but it's been more than two or three per day of these where we're putting together the answers to these summons complaints. Uh, it is not something to joke around with because when it gets to that point, it's going to end up being a judgment if the person loses. And we put these together so people at least had opportunity to put together some type of defense for themselves to potentially either get the debt collector to dismiss it, get the debt collector to hold things off to delay, or to get the debt collector, which would these two go together with the delay, is to get to a good settlement amount. One that we did get delayed for a customer that was with a major credit card company. I'm not going to mention the name because uh, the video will get flagged. Major credit card company, nationwide credit card company, looking at the settlement offer that they made here, and just, I mean, I'm talking about months ago, they were not willing to budge. The total balance amount was $5,220.88. They were not willing to budge. They offered payment plans, all that type of stuff. And what we were able to do, this is they offered him two offers. One, option one, they cut it in half, basically, a little bit less, about a 52% settlement offer is what they offered. Uh, and they offered $2,349.42. They gave them a three payment plan offer, or they said you can do it monthly, beginning with $100 per month plan. Or they said you could just pay it in full, which would be the 2349. And so what we're going to do is we're going to first we're going to get with him and just see if this is where he wants to be at. He wanted to be less for sure, but with the stress that was being applied towards him and his family, and he couldn't sleep and all of that, he said that he really wanted to just get these resolved. And this has been a process of more than a year because it had to charge off, had to get to a certain point, and then had to get to a point to where they were willing to do settlements on the balance because a company is not going to move to do a settlement until they know for sure or have a full belief that there's no money that's being hidden, that they can get to pay their entire balance that they believe, or the entire balance that is owed, because this was a card that he used. This account was not sold. This is being collected for the original creditor. It is not sold to a third party debt collector. Uh, but again, this takes a lot of time. People can go through a lot of stress while this is going on to get these things done. Uh, you cannot make the collection, or you cannot make the original creditor accept any amount. You can't even make a debt collector accept any amount on the debt that they have proven all the way that you're going to have to pay it. You can't force them to accept an amount. It's a back and forth type deal. But I can tell you that these things do get done if you work hard and do a full debt validation. With an original creditor like this one, uh, basically, it's not where you're doing a validation on if you have to pay them, because if it's an original creditor, it's trying to say that you don't owe them is not going to work. What you basically have to do is you have to ask for a full accounting of your account to make sure all credits and everything was placed in there, from payments that you made and all the charges were appropriate. I mean, but basically, what it's going to come down to with dealing with original creditor is that you did, or person did, make those charges, and you're just trying to figure out a process of getting them to accept a settlement that you believe uh, that you can pay without putting you into a bad financial situation. So let's go through the process on dealing with debt collections from step one. I always take this back to dealing with it from step one. So step one in the process is that if you receive that demand letter from a debt collector, they've purchased a debt, or even if you receive one from the original creditor, you need to respond to it. You have to respond to it, because if you don't, number one, you're going to allow debt collectors to put another mark on your credit reports. And then number two, if you're dealing with the original creditor, you're going to get them into where they're going to start making decisions where you don't know about on how they're going to move forward with the debt. And what I always tell people to do when dealing with an original creditor, I'm going to break those two apart right now. Dealing with the original creditor is you start approaching them about doing a settlement, even though they may not do anything until they fully charge it off, until they fully go through the process of having their debt collection company that they hire call you over and over and over and try to see if something can be worked out. This is what they'll do before they sell it. If they decide to sell it and they sell it to a debt collection company, the debt collection company is going to send you that demand letter, and you need to do a debt validation to them. Now, what I always tell people to do is to first start with the cease and desist letter, and I give you that letter for free below this video. Start with that letter, because you'd be surprised how many debt collectors will bag out at that point, because they're not going to expect you to ask those types of questions. Now, if also the thing you should do is you always need to check the statute of limitations to make sure that that debt that they purchased from the original creditor is not past the legal statute of limitations. And when I say the legal statute of limitations, every state is different. All 50 states have different statute of limitations. Some of them match, but they're all different. And this is if they have not gotten a judgment against you. So you want to also check that. If it is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, you simply just need to send them a letter notifying them of that. You don't have to go into the debt amount. You don't have to go into debt validation, none of that. I give you that free letter below this video also. Now, if it's not past the legal statute of limitations, you send them the cease and desist letter, collection activities letter, and they still respond back saying that they're going to come after you, or maybe they don't respond, you should send that letter certified mail, or if you send that certified mail the first time, they're going to respond back. And then if they say that they have legal grounds or they believe that they can come after you for the money, then you need to do a full debt validation, which it is in the cease and desist, but they're going to be more focused on if they can come after you with that cease and desist letter. Or they might send you the full validation. You review it. If you believe that it is something that they're going to be able to prove in court, or you don't want to let it get to that point in court where they're going to summons you to court because of whatever reasons, you need to start approaching them about doing a settlement on that account, and you need to base it off of you having financial hardship. No one is going to try to do a settlement with anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a company, it doesn't matter if you're an individual, if they don't believe you have a financial hardship. So you're going to have to figure out how that company wants you to establish that, so you're able to get that balance down to an amount that you feel comfortable with settling, and do this without it moving forward to the court. Now, if it does move forward to the court. Then you have to answer the summons, which is what we were doing with all of these. Answer the summons, and then you ask for a full accounting of the debt validation within that summons, where they start talking about the debt. You can refer to my other videos here on YouTube on how to answer a court summons. Now, some of the things I want you to pay attention to when you're reading through that summons, there are certain things that they try to hide from you. Some of the time I don't like mentioning it here on YouTube because they watch my videos. I can see certain companies that are watching my videos, and they're taking the tips that I put here and they're actually adding them onto the summons to make it harder for people to to fight those summons, because they're like anticipating. That's when you're going to court, it's all about anticipating how people are going to answer, and most people in the past did not answer unless they started, having a company like mine do it, or they hired a lawyer to do it, and they started answering. But most people don't. But now that people are uh, a lot of the same debt collection companies buy debt, and when we respond to those summons, they have started seeing that, and they're like, we need to anticipate that. I'm seeing a lot of anticipation on where they're trying to get ahead of what you might ask for in the summons. One of them was where they were trying to establish uh, the the amount, saying that this is a real, like that there's, because they're buying it for pennies on a dollar, but they're trying to establish that they have a right to get that full amount even though they bought it for pennies on the dollar. I see that they're actually putting Supreme Court decisions on saying that if they buy the debt, that they, even if they buy it for pennies on the dollar, they're assuming the whole amount and that they're able to get the full amount. And so that was something that I believe was done from when we were asking them to prove a real claim amount by the amount that they paid for the debt. Uh, but we do what we have to do when it comes to that. But if you find yourself in that situation, you have to respond. Do not just leave it and not respond. You must respond. So I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to also make another one talking about the debt amount that's being released. There's been millions of dollars that's being released onto the market. I'm going to get into that on another video. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. The links are right here. Links are below this video. Need help with court summons responses? Those links are below the video, also here. If you need the cease and desist letter, you need the statute of limitations letter, or the debt validation letter, those letters are below this video here. So thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.